Hi guys, welcome to this video. So, excuse my voice, I've been really ill all week and had an awful day, so I thought I'd unwind a little by showing you an update for the Orc Gretchin kill team. Right, so let's have a look. Here we go. So, I'm going to start off with the ones that you saw last time. Now, these are what I've now called runt bots. I can't remember who suggested it in the comments, but it's a brilliant name, and this is now how they look, and that's their name. So, these guys have now got these sort of exhaust stacks. I've tried a different design for each one, which you'll see in a moment. This fella's got a rocket launcher, just added detail all around it. Lots and lots of rivets about the place and some teeth, you can see there, just to make it look complete. So that's this fella. That's going to be a looter spanner. Then we've got the commando here. Now the idea behind this fella being a commando is that he's got the track so he can trundle up the field rather than dump, rather than stomping. I replaced the power claw that I made with this one here because the one I made was looking a bit weedy, and so I thought I may as well replace it with that because I've got it in a box anyway. I'm not sure if I'd made these arms before, but there you go, that's how they fit in. And this guy has got these exhaust stacks on the back, which are made a little bit more rickety with the panel work going across them. He's got a slugger with a scope because he's a commando, why not, teeth across the bottom, and some little brown vents as well. So that's him. He's done. Next up we've got the this one is it's got the big shooter, so this one is going to be the looter spanner, and he's a very similar layout to the other one. The front detailing is all this sort of patchwork of metal, a bit on the back. He's got this big old tank here with 3 exhausts on the top as his exhaust stack. He's got a little trigger here on the bit which he controls the angle of the gun with, and then I've basically used just the basic stuff coming out, and then I've built up the little bit at the back there so I can have some bullet feed going in as well. And that's him. Fairly simple, but I'm really big fan of the exhaust stack that I've got going on there. Now this is the boss knob. So we've gone with hatchwork there, which is very similar to Waz from if you're on Facebook and you follow the Orc circles, you'll be aware of who Waz is. He does this on a lot of his models, and I thought it looks awesome, so I'd give it a go. So cheers, mate. And we've got this big chopper there. He's also got a slugger as well because that's what's needed for the configuration. And on this one, we've gone with a tank in a more vertical angle there, which I thought was pretty cool. So he's going to stomp his way all the way up the field and hit people with that and shoot them in the face. So that's him. Excuse me. Right, now it comes on to the Gretchin. This one might be a bit long because there's so many of them. Now this here is my leader. He's holding on to this orc skull, which, as you know, the Grot Revolution guys, they don't like orcs, and so I thought, why not use the orc skull from the kit? And he's pushing his finger through the mouth there to sort of act as a tongue and take the mickey. I thought that was pretty cool. I've given him these shoulder pads that makes him look like he's a bit special, almost like he's an American footballer, which is pretty cool. And he's got his little gun there. Nothing too special about him. There he is. Then we've got this fella here, who's going to be called Knives. Brownie points if you can guess why, because one knife wasn't enough. That's him. This guy is going to be called Sticks. Excuse me. Still haven't got over this cold. And he's got these stick bombs on his back. Too big for him to ever throw, but he's a big fan of those. This fella here is called Draws, just because he's got 2 guns. I figured why not. I'm trying to make them as recognisable as possible because I'm going to have 20 of these guys on the table and 20 cards with their stats and their upgrades and whatnot on, and the flesh wounds and stuff. I need to be able to identify who they are. So this fella here, I think is going to be called Guns or something to that effect because he's got 3 pistols, one of them far too big for him to use, and lots of ammo belts around him. It's really cool. I like the look of that guy. He looks a bit like a Texan, a gun mad Texan. We've got this fella here. I think he's just a generic guy. I don't really have a name for him. Maybe Goggles or something, based on the fact that he's wearing these goggles here. But yeah, so that's him. So those are the ones that are sort of built off the same grots, because there's two sets of grots here. The same grots that are actually in here, plus the leader. These ones, however, are a little bit tricky, so I'm going to show you them together, mainly because they're the same sculpt. So these two here were basically the same sculpt, and they come with the gun built into the model. And the way that I've got around making these two look a little bit more different is basically by taking the end of the gun off, replacing it with this sort of thin barrel, and sticking a little bit of a scope on there, which adds just enough variation, especially when you consider that the head's different, to make them look different, I thought. I think that works fairly well, because the last thing you want, especially when you're working with a kill team, is having two models that look identical and trying to figure out which one of them's wounded and which one's not. These guys here, we've got Bags. There's this fella here holding this massive rucksack. I love the way that looks. It's absolutely huge compared to him. And then we've got the miner, or turtle, or something, because he's got this big old mine on his back. He thinks it's armour, but of course it's a landmine. So that's those guys there. We've got these two fellas. This one is fairly generic setup. He's got the little top knot effort going on. This fella here, I've replaced the top knot. Because I'm not very good at doing green stuff, I've stuck a big old plate on his back, and probably call him something like Plates. He's got this little bit of armour on his back because he's afraid of getting hit from the top by some big old orc or other gribbly. Now, these guys, I quite like these models. These ones have a little rifle. Of course, in Kill Team, these all have pistols, and essentially they're all pistol-sized weapons anyway, even if it's a Grot rifle. This one here is called Sights. Again, points if you can guess why. And this one here, I've stuck a little bit of a bayonet on the front of his gun there. Haven't decided what to call him as yet. And finally, we've got these fellas here. So this one here is a fairly generic setup, or the fairly basic sculpt. I've just stuck this little bum bag on him. Haven't changed anything about his gun or anything like that. This one, I basically chopped the front off the gun, replaced it with one of the other guns, and made it a little bit extra long, so it's a bit like a big magnum gun, and stuck a little sight on the top there. And that is that. I think my favourite model is probably this guy here. Apologies if the lighting isn't fantastic on this week. Just a really big fan of the fact that he's pointing through this skull. It's quite comical, because I like to put some, like to add a lot of comedy into the orc models I work on. And these models have got so much character to begin with. It was fairly easy adding more character to make them unique. Just have to exaggerate certain features. Right, that is basically all I wanted to go through. So, as you can see, I still haven't fixed the edges of the video here. I've not been at all well. I've been going through it the last few weeks. Voice is absolutely gone, so apologies again for that. Yeah, but before I cough more on the video, it's probably about time to say thank you very much for watching. Keep up with me on social media here. If you are, you've probably seen the an update on these to some degree. If you live in the Midlands of the UK, you're looking for somewhere to game while you're in Derby, head on over to these guys here. It's close to the city centre. If you want to use their web store, you can use that voucher code there to get an extra 5% off. There'll be a link in the description down to get to their web store, which will also have details on how to get to the physical store as well. Lots and lots of tables to play on. They do cards, war games, demo games. They've even got in-house armies, so if you want to have a go at any of the war games they cover, you can just basically turn up and have a go against one of the guys who works there. So, yeah, I think that's everything. Right, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Stay well, guys.